Welcome to the 222 Paranormal Podcast, starring your host, Joe Shorridge, and co-host, Jen Shorridge.
Hello.
Joseph Dean, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. That's good.
We have an amazing guest today.
I'm so excited.
I am psyched.
Yes.
This is going to be a long show today. So bear with us a little bit. It's going to be a little longer than normal, but it's worth it. You're going to enjoy it.
You can always pause and take a pee break about an hour in.
Yeah.
But no, we really are excited to bring you guys this guest. We've had him on the show before. He's an amazing person. He's so cool, so knowledgeable, and I just cannot wait for you guys to hear this interview. It's going to be so great.
All right, so let's get into it.
All right, with us today on the 222 Paranormal Podcast, we have psychic medium, author, speaker, paranormal investigator, man of the hour, grill master, Tim Shaw. Welcome to the show, my favorite person. I always get so excited to see you at the Paracons because you always just have such a great, positive, and just wonderful presence. And you just
his aura is not brown.
No, somebody told me I had a brown aura like poop, and I was very
well. I don't know. Maybe my underwear is brown, but that's that's neither here nor there. You know.
But you know, different type of podcast.
You know, you got to go and. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I got burned out with like some conferences I've been doing it for so many years.
Yeah.
And then I stopped probably about a year, 2 years. And then we kind of went into COVID, which kind of slowed everything down. But I mean, I just wanted to go and I handpick what I want to do now. And when I go to these places, I'm just excited to see everybody. You know, it's so nice. It's so nice to like walk into a place and people. It's like Cheers. Everybody knows your name. You know, you haven't seen, and you don't get a chance to see it. Maybe you see each other like twice a year, 3 times a year, and it's just like coming home. And that's what I love about it. That's why and a lot of people say that. A lot of people go, "Oh, I can't believe that you're so positive. I can't believe that you're always so happy." You haven't seen me. You haven't seen me locally when I got stuff to do around the house. But
snow blow.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't mind that. That's not too bad. It's grass cutting.
Like we talk a lot about the conventions that we go to. We see you there and that, and you wouldn't see someone for 6 months, let's say, and all of a sudden we have a conference where we see each other for one day. But it's almost like the conversations just pick up where they left off.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Isn't that great? I have friends like that. I won't see these people for years. And maybe we'll go out for coffee and it's bang. Just the old way, just the way, nobody's really changed, we've gone and we've got interesting things to talk about, but everybody's on that same level and everybody's just happy to see everybody. So I love that. That to me, that to me is what conferences should be, not just, listen, I'm right up there hawking t-shirts and, kissing babies and shaking hands. I'm not gonna lie about it.
It's gas money,
right?
It's gas money. Well, that's basically, that's what it is. But, I just want to go and I'm just happy to see everybody, and I think it's because it's like, we're like an elite club, and I hate to call it an elite club, but we really are. Because we get a chance to rub elbows with some really cool people, not just TV people, but really knowledgeable people. I mean, I met at a conference the late Stanton Friedman. Oh my God, this guy was like, I mean, years ago. I mean, I used to like follow him, and when he started talking about UFOs, and I mean, the guy was this like unbelievable genius. And to be able to go and meet somebody like that and even spend only 5 minutes talking to him. That's amazing. And that's what I think the cons are really good about, because, it demystifies everybody. We all get a chance to be all in the same playing field. And that's what you do. And you get a chance to meet Dacker Stoker. Oh my God. I read his books. He's amazing. He's a great guy. And, you get a chance to go and, you get a chance to shake his hand, and talk to him and ask him questions. And again, it's it's like a club. It's this club that we get a chance to go and we get a chance to hang out at.
Yeah. And Joe and I, we've been doing the podcast for 9 years now, and we went full throttle with conventions for the first like 5 to 7, 8 years. And then we scaled back because it was just so much. It takes a lot of energy.
It does.
It's traveling and it's great. I love it. It's so much fun. I love, just going new places and things. But
18 years. 18 years I've been doing the Black Cat Lounge. And for 3 of those years, I was doing Black Cat Lounge, and I was doing Psychic Next Door on CBS radio for terrestrial radio. And I was doing the public appearances for CBS, and then we were doing the all the other stuff for the Black Cat Lounge, and you're setting up and you're gypsying and working a full job.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get done on Friday, man. You jump in the car, you go to wherever you got to go. Like you're working on 2 hours sleep, and you're trying to be like up and happy, and you got about 12 coffees in you, and you got somebody sitting in the hot seat with you. It's like it's a whole art form. But yeah, it does. It wears on you a little bit. I'm glad I was younger then than I am now.
I see you at the conventions. You're still young. You're moving along a lot faster than everybody else.
Yeah.
I just take a lot of ibuprofen now. That's what it is.
We were doing 2 to 3 a month.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Plus, my best friend Dana's in the band. I was traveling with them. It got to the point where, and people see this and they laugh, but it gets to the point where like, all right, what city are we in?
Yeah.
What city are we in again?
Been there. I thought, and that just before COVID, the year before COVID, I did 32 events. I did TV. I did a pilot and appearances. 32. And I remember waking up thinking that I was in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I was up at Sault Ste. Marie. I always remember that. I woke up and I'm going, and I'm looking out the window. Nothing looks familiar. Finally, I had to go and I had to, check my phone to see where I was. And it was like, oh my God, I'm thinking to myself, Alzheimer's is really catching in quick. But it was like, it just hit, and it happens. It happens. Yeah. I don't know how guys like Dustin Perry do it, because he is like always on the go, and he is like here, there, everywhere. I'd be lost. You know what? Yeah. They'd be picking me up. I'd be walking along the edge of the street without shoes.
And shoes are nothing.
Lost. I'd just be lost.
And he's doing his motivational and his paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
So he's double downing on it too.
Yeah, he's incredible. You know what? Out of really nice. Everybody that I've met, that were on, the TV people, I have to say he's really my best friend, and he, we've talked a lot, and I've learned so much from him. So I mean, I can't say enough about him, and he's just a riot. He's just a riot. And whenever he's in Buffalo, I always kidnap him so I can take him to my favorite Italian restaurant.
Ooh, now you're talking. I love Italian food.
Oh yeah.
I love it. So good.
Yeah, a lot of people, they see the people on the TV shows and all that, and they think that they're not approachable at the conventions. And we always tell people, go to these conventions so you can meet the people and understand that they're some of the nicest people. We're all weirdos, but some of the nicest people you ever want to meet.
Who's weird? Who's weird?
I am.
We're normal. Everybody else is weird.
Is that what it is? Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, no, doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. But yeah, no, I mean that's the whole idea behind it. And there's nothing better than having somebody coming up and questioning your work, or questioning something that you've done, or a talk that you did, or some kind of a technique that you work with. So I mean, I love that. I absolutely love it. And again, you know what? Yeah, I got a couple books I throw out there. Usually I'll have a T-shirt or two, but that's just to fill a table. That's what we call. I seriously just call it table fillers. Just something to have out there. I would much rather be able to go and talk to people than just, than the hawk that, or even readings. A lot of people are like, oh, I wait for you to have, to have a slot open for readings. Once a year you're coming to town. If you're going to wait for me, you're going to wait a long time, because it's like, you know what? I don't do a lot of them. I just don't. I pace myself. But I have to do that for my own sanity. I pace myself, and I only do so many, and that's it. And even locally, here in Western New York, I've got something coming up on Black Friday that I'll do some readings. But I mean, on the most part, maybe I'll block some time, maybe every couple months, maybe 2 months, 3 months. And the reason for it is the fact that it's just, it can be a little draining, and and I have so many other things that I'm like so interested in. Imagine this. This is just part of my collection behind me. This is just part of it. This is the normal stuff. The stuff on the other side of this laptop is the crazy stuff. But I mean, I have so many other irons in the fire that it's hard for me to allot time. Plus, I mean, family time and stuff. You want to be, you don't want to, neglect that. But yeah, everything. Whenever I get a chance, I'll do it. Now, like this year at Sault Ste. Marie, I tried, guys. I tried to hide. Yeah. I tried to disappear.
I don't believe that, because I kept seeing you walk past the table. Like, there goes again.
Well, no, seriously, I got Friday. I did 9 readings.
Oh my gosh.
And Saturday, I did 2 in the morning, and then we did the panel at 2:00 on haunted objects. And I think I did 6 or 7 readings after that, because I was still doing readings when everybody was tearing down and getting ready to, relax. So yeah, I still had 2 readings to go, I think, at that point. So yeah, I was busy, but I just kept trying to, when you see me going, there's a reason for it. I'm not exercising, I'm running. And it was great because they had a massage therapist there. So guess I had to get a massage. It's tough doing this stuff.
It is.
It is. It does. It physically drains you. I mean, all we do is just stand there, right, and try to talk to people all day. But you're on your feet all day. You got to be quick. You got to be like, hey, come on over here and hustle and get on my show.
But yeah, but I mean, it's. I always a lot of my friends are always like, oh, that's so cool what you do. And I did a talk in the summer for University Express about about reality TV and what I've seen in it. Yeah. And a question came up about these events. How hard is it to do these events? Well, number one, this will give you a little idea. Mm-hmm. My wife, as long as we've been married, has only come to 2 events.
Okay.
2. Drained her terribly. Terribly. She was exhausted after each one. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't that's why she doesn't travel with me. Mm-hmm. So they'll give you an idea. And I'll be honest with you, it's like with me, I'm using part of my brain for one thing, and then I'm trying to do something else with it, and then I'm you're trying to not like be confused, but it's just sometimes it's so overwhelming. But the people that I've met along the way, I mean, it makes it all worth. I mean, it really makes it all worthwhile, and that's what I love about it. I really do. And I get a chance to hang out. And I get a chance to go once in a while and get a chance to talk with you guys, in real time, face to face. And people. Let me tell you something. When you see them here, you see them on that little screen. They're not as beautiful on this little screen as they are in real life. They're absolutely stunning, the 2 of them. Stunning. Effervescent.
But I mean, I love it when
I'll tell my mom thank you, because she, birthed both of us.
You tell her.
She's 92. Drives me up the wall.
Great. Well, that's great.
Got more spunk than I do.
But I like it at the convention. I mean, it is draining. We people a lot, and but the thing is, we get people that come up to the table, and I love it when they first say, "I've never told anybody this, but," and they'll sit there and tell you these stories, and you're like,
"Oh my God, yeah!
Why aren't you sharing this with other people?" And that, but maybe they just don't feel right telling people unless they're at the conventions.
It's true. And that's true. I get a lot of that. And of course, I mean, I look at things a little bit differently. You know, I'm not a angel demon guy. You know, I've worked with exorcists and you know, I know, you know, like you know, Johnny Zaffis, and I mean, I've worked with a lot of different people over the years, but I'm not an angel or demon guy. Everything to me is vibration. I look at things a little bit different, and people come up, and I think they feel like with me, I think they feel a lot less judged, as if they're going to someone that may have a collar on or look at things in a certain way. And like with me, it's like, you know, it's I always say, you know, I try to be as common sense as possible. And everything that I do, I use the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid, because that's the only way that I can survive. The only way that I can understand to do things. And I mean, and when I talk to people, I just got this compliment the other day. When I talk to people, they say, you know, by the time you're done, you know, telling somebody something, they really understand it. You have a way of like, and the phrase was dumbing it down, but it wasn't. He didn't mean it in that negative connotation. It was the fact that I kind of try to make sure when I'm speaking to somebody or if I'm suggesting something that they understand it. You know, and that's I don't want to go and I don't want to talk above people. That's when I served the pulpit. Let me tell you something. When I served the pulpit, there was nothing more disgusting to me than to stand above the congregation. I mean, way above it, and stand behind the podium. Now, I just this last year I got a great honor, huge honor. I spoke at Plymouth Spiritualist Church in Rochester, New York, which is one of the oldest continuing spiritualist church organizations in the United States. Wow. And they only had a small little like stage, and then they had their pulpit up there. Of course, the pulpit, you know, people like, you know, Frederick Douglass had spoken behind this pulpit, and you know, it was great. I mean, all these dignitaries, and you know, but it wasn't bad because it was above, and you weren't like, you know, you weren't looking down at people, and I have a problem with that. I don't like to look down at people. Whether it's spiritually or physically, I mean, I really don't. To me, everybody should be equal in this. And the way I was brought up was the fact that everybody is equal, whether you've got you know some kind of a title or whatever. You're just whoever you are. And I've always had a problem like looking down at people, you know. So whenever I used to serve, I used to come off of the pulpit and go into the middle aisle and talk, you know, and we do the message work or whatever. And oh my God, the blue hairs on the board, they hated me. They hated me. They despised my guts. But you know, the congregation, we always had I always got great feedback, and everybody loved it. So that's the way I always look at things.
I think the older people like the tradition of things, like going to Catholic Mass. You know, it's like people are always like, "Oh, you got to stand up and sit down, stand up and sit down."
Oh,
and then, you know, you got my mom who's 92. It was just like, can't do that anymore, but would love to do that. You know what I mean? Like there's
well, it's familiar. It's familiar, and you know what? And familiarity will go and give a lot of solace when you're, you know, if you have problems or whatever. It's comfort. It's comfort. And again, like with me, I'm pretty radical. Imagine that. I'm pretty radical with the way I think and even though I'm a member of the National Spiritualist Association of Churches, I don't swallow a fraction of their dogma, you know, and I respect it, but I don't believe in it because of the fact that I've actually been out there and I've done the work. I'm not I'm not a book jockey. You know, I've been out there. I've done and seen some guys. I've seen some things over the years. I've seen a couple things, and
I want to hear
over the years. Too long. But I mean, you know, I mean, so it's hard for me to go and toe a line, you know, and especially, and I mean, you guys know my whole thing is that, spirituality is your covenant between you and your creator or whatever, but religion is man-made.
Yeah.
And most religions are there only to go to be, they serve themselves to keep themselves going, and that's where I have a little bit of a problem with it. I think they're important, they have a place, but not in this kid's place, that's not my spirituality. It's not my wheelhouse.
I know our listeners heard this a few times, but I've had so many people come up to me and say, I don't believe in what you do, I'm a Christian. And I'm like, it's the same thing, just different,
One of the very best lectures I've ever attended was in Lilydale years and years ago. The past president, Ann Gelman, married a former Jesuit priest, theologian, who was still he was still teaching theology at Georgetown University. And what they did is they did a comparison between the religion of spiritualism, basically the philosophy, and Catholicism. Outside of the divination of Christ, which is big. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a huge stumbling block for a lot of people. But everything else that trickled down, the only difference was what they called these.
Exactly.
It's semantics. That's all it is. And it was mind-blowing. And I one night I used to argue with this one. He was a bishop with the Western Rite Catholic Church. I really loved him. He's a great guy. And that wasn't an argument, it was more of a debate. And it was like, well, because I don't believe in this, I don't believe in that. He goes, well, what do you call this? I said, well, that's really lower energy. That's like really, well, can it be influenced? Yeah. How can it be influenced? Well, it should be influenced because of either the living or energetic personalities, which is, when you pass it, energy doesn't change, or the energy doesn't die. It just changes form.
Yeah.
And he says, what do you think this is? He goes, take a look at that. He says, think about that. And I went, oh, so basically you're just calling it a different thing.
Exactly.
Richard Estep has got a great book out, and I'm going to throw a plug in for Rich.
Yeah.
It's called In Search of Demons, and it's all interviews with all sorts of people, paranormal investigators, people who are experiencers, an exorcist, and it's amazing. And the exorcist that he interviewed was so on the money with the way I think it's amazing. So this is the second book when it comes to demons that I will recommend. The first one is by the late Malachi Martin, of course, Hostage to the Devil, which is really a tough book to read. But it is one of your seminal books that you really need to go and understand, to really be able to do, if you're doing like that type of work, or you're interested in it, or you're doing some hardcore cleansing of negative places. It's a real good book to read. But when it comes to demons, I have to say that Richard is this book is pretty well rounded. So it's called In Search of Demons. He gave me an advanced copy and during the summer, and I read it.
Yeah.
Basically, in like a couple days, and it was really great.
Yeah, because I think I was talking to him about that, and he mentioned about his book, and so it's completely different than what I thought it was.
Yeah, he said, like it was so funny because he said, if I had wrote it in this vein, which means per all these personal experiences or his whatever, he goes, I probably could have sold more books. I could probably sell a lot of books. He said, but that's not what I was looking for. He said, I want to know what other people think about it, and I want to put it all together, because like they got Jay Hawes in there, and they've got Johnny Hauser, phenomenal. He's an interesting cat. He is like I'm getting him on my show. I can't wait to talk to him. He's at the Vasali. I can't ever say. You guys can help me out. I can't say it. I can't say that. It's the Axe Murder House. I can't say that. Velisca. Thank you. I can never say that word. I think I have an attachment. It won't let me say it. But it really, it's really a phenomenal book. So I highly recommend that to anybody that's interested in that field.
Yeah. Whenever we interview a author, I always like to throw the last question. I always like to say, when your reader closes that last page of the last book, when they close that, what's the first thought you want them to have? And it's always a good question because it makes people think. And the authors usually are like, oh, I don't know. So
Here, I got a better one for you.
yeah.
When they're done reading the book, will it go on the shelf or will it go to the free library? That there you go.
I have a whole library of paranormal books that I'm sure you do too, right? You go to the conference, somebody's got a new book, and we got to buy it.
I'm waiting to go to Goodwill and see my book on the shelf.
That's happened to me. That's happened.
No, you know what happened is one of my books it's come back in the print, and it's a allegory, and it's like a bunch of people. We all put it together, and there's 4 of us that wrote this book, and I couldn't get any copies. So when the copies would come up on eBay for less than $7, I would buy them. I would go and I would resell them for 10 because of the fact I couldn't get now that they're back in print, I can get them again. But yeah, I've had to do that. Yeah, you gotta listen. I'm not ashamed to say that that's what I've done.
I saw somebody when my first book came out. Somebody was selling an autographed copy that I must have autographed somewhere on eBay, and I'm like, I sold like 10 copies on Amazon. How is this?
Somebody in Australia had one of my books, $1,000.
No way.
$1,000.
Okay.
I should have wrote to him. What I should have done is I said, listen, for $100, I'll send you $100 a book, and I will. And I'll even autograph them for you. There you go.
Exactly. we gotta get that book hustle going.
We gotta get this hustle. That's right. Listen, I'm on a fixed income now. I gotta watch this stuff.
Exactly. It's okay. We'll feed you at the next pair of tents.
Yeah.
I'll take you up on it.
Yeah.
Now, I know you do readings. Do you do the gallery readings?
I'm trained as a gallery reader. That's what I was trained as a kid.
When you're up on stage or whatever, when you're looking out in that crowd, every single one of them people are staring at you, and everyone's going, either they're saying like I'm always like, don't pick me, don't pick me.
There's two type of people. People are like this, and the other people are like, they all look like they have to poop. That's what you get. I'm not lying. That's exactly what it looks like to me.
I love it. That's
my first time I went to a gallery reading, I'm expecting the person to stand up there and go, I picture someone that has a great-great-grandparent that has passed away. Is that anybody? But it wasn't. That's what I was expecting. It's like so vague, but it was was it not Cheryl Cosa?
It was Cindy Casa.
Cindy Casa.
Yeah.
Oh, Cindy, Cindy's good. She's
I was sitting there blowing my mind because she was like saying this stuff that she couldn't just make up because
it was
people
very, very detailed.
Yeah,
she's awesome.
You know what? It's funny because now, like, I have some friends that I work with that are deadly on names. They are deadly. They're just unbelievable. Me, I couldn't carry a name in a bag. I can't. You know what? I can get the sound of like the first letter or something, but that's not what I can do. That's not in my makeup. And some people can do it and other people can't. I just can't. I mean, for me, it's almost all identifiers. So, I mean, I'm gonna dance all the way around that name. I'm going to try to get you as many identifiers that you can go and know who this person is. And we were trained way back in the 70s when I was taking training when I was a kid. 3 readings, 12 minutes. That is what you did. And that you had to have identifiers and you had to have a message. That was huge. And that was the way the churches ran it. So you would have 3 people that you'd have 3 mediums go up there and do this. So you had to be able to get as much out of your head as you possibly could during those during that time period.
Mhm.
And that's why everybody goes, how come you only do 15, 20-minute readings, Tim? This is ridiculous. How come? I said, listen. You want to pay me more? You pay me more, but I'm going to tell you the
Right.
truth. What I tell you in a 15-minute reading
Yeah.
and the 30-minute reading is going to be the same. The 30-minute reading, I'm just going to talk slower. That's the only difference. That's the only difference. That's it. And I joke about it, but it's so true because I only get so much,
Yeah.
and that's it. And being a gallery reader, being someone that was trained, specifically trained for that purpose, to serve churches. That's just the way my brain is. It's cognitive. It's like bang, bang, bang. That's you do that, and it's almost like it's like when I do when I do a large crowd, I'll do 30 minutes. I'll do 55 minutes solid without thinking about it. I can hit 30 people, 40 people, depending how quick I work. And you're really working and getting it out and getting the message out to everybody. And during church services, message work is not readings. Message work is exactly a message. That's it.
Okay.
You're getting something quick. You're not going to get into in-depth. You're not, going to read into it. You're not going to go and really, grab a hold of it and analyze it. Message work is like quick, and that's what it's for. It's for public work, and it's for the church service.
Have you ever had a situation where you probably did thousands and thousands of readings, but had somebody from the other side come back to you and say, I still have another message for this person, but you might not even know who they are because somebody signed up or whatever.
Yeah, and you know what? This is what I do.
What do you do with that?
Go away. We're done. You have to. I'm very, very anal with the way I work. Very anal. I am very structured, and it's the way I was brought up. Boundaries and control. You're always in control of all spiritual things when you're working. Boundaries are how you work within those boundaries. My boundary is that when I'm done reading with you and you get up and walk away, it's like hitting the erase button. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I could probably remember 4 readings that I've done in my life. That's it. I've trained myself not to carry it because it's not mine. The message is not mine. It's whoever I'm reading it to. So if I'm just, I'm the downspout where all this, sludge is coming through, and I'm giving you that reading, when it's done, it's done. Done. Yeah. And it's works better that way because I know people that carry these things with them, and it's like, I get a lot like, well, how come, you don't, these things don't, nothing ever bothers you. It's like, these spirits don't come up and they're like trying to get like so-and-so. And, you gave this reading to this person and they want you to, no, because why? My vibe is when we're done, we're done. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, it's self-survival. It's self-survival. I worked for a radio for years. And she was untrained. She couldn't go to a supermarket during the day because she would be bombarded. I know that. She would have to go to like a Walmart or something to do shopping at, after midnight, 24-hour, Walmart or 24-hour supermarket, because she couldn't go out to eat. And my instructors always told me that you are supposed to be part of the race. You're supposed to be part of humanity. You're, and when I was a kid, I always tell this story. When I was a little kid, down in Lilydale, we go visit my relatives. Friday, Saturday nights, you couldn't sit on the Maplewood porch. And that's a hotel in Lilydale because that was where all the registered mediums sat and visiting mediums. They were all up there. And it was a great education because you got to hear all the great stories and stuff. But this old guy, probably younger than I am now, looked at me and said, boy, this isn't to be your life. It's supposed to be a great addition to your life, but it's not to be your life. And I took that really to heart. And first of all, I don't consider myself a professional at anything outside of like, I'm a professional retiree now. That's what
There you go.
But I never took that. I never took, got into that mindset of going and letting the religion overwhelm me. I always felt that I should be out there. I should have a job, and this should be a great welcome addition to my life to be able to fill, the void and help me through whatever I'm doing, and how I can kind of give back to, mankind, and how I can work with spirit people. So, I mean, I always thought of it in that way. And sometimes, and that's the way I kind of like, if I have students, that's what I try to get them to think like, that this is, and I always tell people, and again, this is how I short circuit my classes. If I very seldom do I ever teach a 101 class, and this was a 101 class, but I usually teach advanced classes. And so this is the way I start. Who here gets messages and all that, and put your hand up. And so the whole class puts their hands up. I said, okay, did you know what? You're not special because you're doing it. Anybody can do it. Sorry. Crestfallen, all their faces. Crestfallen.
Broke their egos.
But by the end of the class, they understand the control thing. It's it's natural. It's not it's not supernatural. It's natural. It's not paranormal. It's just normal. The big thing is that I learned from the late Tom Brown Jr., which he was a great. He's an American tracker, and he was a mystic. I met him. I took classes from him at the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York. And he said, all you're doing is kind of re-energizing your muscle memory. When it comes to psychic phenomena and its psychic world, it's all there. And we needed it to survive when we were in, that tribal nomadic state. And when we started living behind walls and started being more agricultural and stuff, the only people that did this, the only people that remembered how to do this were medicine men and shamans and that sort of thing. And this is natural. So all you're doing is reawakening something that's already there. Everybody's not the best at everything, of course, but it's all there. It's all there waiting to be tapped into. And the difference between psychics and medium is very, very small. The difference is the fact that psychics work within the what we call the human atmosphere, human aura atmosphere, and mediums work with energetic personalities in an intelligent two-way manner. Okay. And psychics can't do that, but mediums can do everything a psychic does. And and each has its own place. And there's very, very little difference between the two. But if you start thinking of it in that aspect, it becomes so natural that you're no longer afraid of it. You don't worry about the message. You don't worry about whatever comes through. I try to go and like filter the F-bombs that come out of my mouth, but I mean otherwise. And not at casinos. Casinos, the F-bombs come flying right out. Oh. Chip, if it's good enough for coffee, it's good enough for me. But I love Chip. He's one of the greatest guys I've ever met. But I mean, it's. I want people to understand that this is just natural. It's no big deal. And like people are always like, you always say it's no big deal. Well, it's not. I don't think twice about it. And I'm so disciplined that like. I don't even realize it sometimes, but I'll be like, at the gym. I'm working at the gym, and I'm working out next to somebody, and it's really intense. Sometimes you really get, that gym mind, and you're picking something up, picking it up. Well, I'm at that point going, go away.
Yeah.
And I just shut it down. And I shouldn't say shut it down. I ignore it. I just totally ignore it. Okay. And then I go on. And a lot of people are like, wow, that's like, I can't do that. Well, yeah, you can, you just gotta, it's a cognitive thing.
It's training.
You can,
Yeah.
you just learn how to do it. That's all. And you practice it. Like, I know people that I know. So I knew a pastor of a spiritualist church. He used to go to the mall and he'd go, I peek. What do you mean you peek? I peek in the people as they're walking by, and I peek into
that's interesting.
And I said, that is like the most unethical thing I've ever heard of in my life. Well, can't you do it? Yeah, I can, but I don't. I don't want to know that. And his response was, I always love this. His response was, well, if you felt and you got the impression that they were going to get run over by a bus leaving the mall, would you tell them? And I said, no. And they go, what do you mean? I said, because I believe in life contracts. And I believe if that is their fate, then who are we to go and judge the universe? I mean, we can, if believe me, Jen, if you were walking in front of a bus and I saw you physically, I would run out there and pull you out of the way.
All right.
But
I hope you would.
I would. But when it comes to this, no, because this is a spiritual matter. The other thing is that you have something that we have to, you always have to worry about stuff like self-fulfilling prophecy. Oh, Joe, I really think that, you got these steps in your house and you're going to run down them, you're going to fall and you're going to break your neck. Well, I could go and freak you out so badly that you got these steps in your house that you'll be so careful about.
Yeah.
That you'll be thinking about them and then
Think
fall.
about it
And then you'll fall, and you'll fall off your chair or something. This
I wouldn't pay attention when I walk outside, and the squirrel hits me in the face. And
but this is it. This is it. So you have to balance that out. It's an ethical question, and and you have to be able to draw lines, and you have to live with them. And I do. I mean, I have no problems, none whatsoever. There's sometimes that people will come up and fast tracking is we all have chakras in our palms and in our fingertips, and you go and shake hands with somebody and you get something off of them. I mean, that's called fast tracking. It's an easy way. It's an old medium's way of really getting into somebody's head, it's their aura. So you can jump in, they sit down, you're on.
Okay.
And sometimes you get something and then you have to weigh it. You have to weigh it, whether it's that important enough to go and tell a person, or a lot of times, we are not allowed to diagnose or prescribe. I don't know how many times I've shaken hands with somebody and I can feel cancer. I can feel clogged hearts. I can feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that in my own body. And, it's like, no, because of the fact, and I'll maybe say something, well, maybe, I don't know if you have a doctor, but maybe you should think about, if he gives you tests, just do them, but that's as far as I'll go. I am not going to do that, because what'll happen is if I tell somebody, you know what, I'm feeling a tightness in my chest. Well, now they're going to feel the tightness in the chest. You're implanting a psychological
suggestion.
Exactly.
Yeah. You don't want that. That stress could cause the heart attack. You have to.
That could be what caused it.
Yeah. And, that's where you have to be so careful. You really have to be careful with that.
Yeah. I mean, what if, you told somebody, this is kind of like a scenario that happened here. Tell somebody they had demons in their house and you're possessed and you gotta do this. And then the girl jumps off the parking structure.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't.
She's afraid of demons. And
it was her mental health. You know what I mean? It wasn't, wasn't really. And what if you think you can expel something and you can't? You know what I mean? So it's like, you guys have to, everybody, I mean, just people in general have to walk a very fine line of how you speak to people.
There are some self-proclaimed exorcists out there that have caused more harm than good.
Oh yeah.
And some really bad paranormal investigators that have caused a lot of harm and good. I mean, there was one case where they went into a house and there's so much that you have to really look for. It's like, Well, the guy was supposedly possessed by a demon or whatever, and he's he was does all this stuff, and he spray painted a pentagram on the wall of the basement.
Mhm.
Well, here's the problem: point up, seal of Solomon. That's a protection. That's a protection symbol. This shows me that this person is not possessed by something that may be demonic or may be something lower. It might be a parasitical spirit, might be an attachment, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not the King Daddy. It's not Mac Daddy Zozo coming to say hi to you.
Right.
And so you have to watch this stuff. And these poor people. Here's another one. This person went and called up a friend of mine and said, "Get out of your house because I think it's going to." My people are telling me that there's going to be a home invasion. He sent his wife and child to a hotel, and he sat up all night with a gun.
Yeah.
What happens if the wife came home where he was half asleep and he jumped, and that could have been a tragedy. So I mean, this is the type of reckless behavior that you have to watch for, and it's and I hate to say it, but it's a buyer beware market, because people will go and try to they're looking for something, and of course everything has got a metaphysical slant to it. Nothing, they can't blame it on their own mess ups and stuff. And sometimes they're looking for a scapegoat, sometimes, but you have to watch it. And there's so many people up there that have screwed up and scared these people. And one of the biggest things that you have to do when you go in and there's a negative haunting or something that might be a little bit shaky, is you got to sit them down and educate them. That's all. Yeah. Find out what religion they work with. Find their spirituality. Work with them. Find a common denominator. Talk to them like people. Talk to them and explain to them how to. Let's go and we may not be able to go and get rid of everything, but let's lessen everything. Let's go and find out. These are the steps that I would do, and these are the steps that I suggest. But it's lessening, but it's letting them understand it. And you know yourself as well as I do that when the host or the client is educated, what happens? All this negative activity starts to decrease. You may not get rid of it all, but it may flare up, but it's not going to be as bad, and they're going to be able to handle it. That's what you want. And I mean, people don't get that, and that's a shame. That's where I've had a lot of problems. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I stopped taking negative cases because I've done so many of them that I just don't have the other. You've done so many of them that you have to be on call. Yeah. That's the biggest thing that Johnny Zaff has taught me. You've got to be ready to go back. Almost never go and you're able to clear a house first time around. You got to find the battery. You got to find what's powering it. You got to find, and he's so true. He is that's a truism that people don't get. Listen, if I could go and clear a house by, starting a fire in the backyard, dancing naked around with a dead chicken, I would do it. If I knew that was going to take care of all the situation,
Again.
And by the way, just to let Jen, 8x10 glossies are available of that.
We're selling them at the next Paragon.
We don't want to see that, believe me. But you've got to be able to go and you've got to be able to work within their spirituality in order to go and lessen it. And people are I think what the problem is that people see too much on TV and they all think it's a one-stop shop. And that's not the way it works, because of the fact that, let's face it, somebody comes over to unplug your toilet. It may not be a one-stop shop. You may have to go through the steps and have to go and find all these other things that are wrong in order to get the water to flow, and the waste out. So that's the way it is.
Yeah. And sometimes, it's really disheartening because and Joe and I have had experience of people telling us this, you have these people who start a group and think they know everything, and they'll go in and just stir stuff up and just leave these people in the dust, It's like,
and not go back.
Go in and tell these people I'm going to fix it in one night when this has probably been going on for years and years.
And you gotta.
It's like losing weight. You didn't gain it all overnight, did you?
And it's, a good paranormal investigator won't even show up to a house for a month after they get the case, for one thing, because doing research. But two, you walk into a house and you look around and if you see a house that's full of religious items or books on the shelf of all demonology stuff and all that stuff, or even go into a house and people say they're getting haunted, you better know pretty sure that it's not like the furnace motor making a infrasound or something like that.
Or even, or I was Bishop Jim and I actually, we went to a house where they were getting like this really bad feel, this real bad vibe in this area. And I mean, we're looking all over the place. First of all, you look for chaos. That's what I look for, chaos. And the first room I had, the house was pretty nice. It was all right. Went in the basement, chaos, massive chaos. There was not a place that you could walk without stepping on something.
Clutter.
We hit one area and I was like, wow, you could feel something, right? And we're looking at each other, hit it with a K2, because that's what I use K2s for. I hit it to see what's going on there, Megagus. There was, this thing was pinning, and it was coming off a light fixture. It was pinning. Guess what it is? That's what it is. It wasn't supernatural. It wasn't metaphysical. It was an organic problem that was easily solved. They changed the fixture. Guess what? All done. I don't know what the basement looks like, but they told me. I don't think they cleaned the basement. Probably still the same way.
I had my bed in a certain spot in my bedroom, and I was just having all this weird stuff. Well, it turns out my electrical box was right under where my bed was, where my head was. Hello.
But see, what, people don't know that. I mean, and common people don't know that, and that's where you go in there and you explain things, and this is what you should look for, and this is what you need to do. And I'm going to I'll be honest with you. People come up and they will tell me the most horrific stories. Horrific. Now you got to understand, I've been poked, I've been, pushed. This year, I actually got knocked down to the ground.
Oh my goodness.
First time in my life.
Wow.
I thought it was funny, but people freak at that stuff.
Sure.
But I go to I go to the location. Nothing. Nothing. And exorcists call it's called the gift of discernment. The first thing, like when I was on Portals to Hell with Osborne and Kat Weidman, who I love, the minute you walk into a place, it's like right here. It's like, oh, okay, we got something over here, and it's right in the solar plexus, it's like the butterflies and all that. I walk into these houses, nothing. And it's like I feel bad because everything doesn't jump up to you.
Sure.
You go back, just like Johnny says, go back, check it out again, second time, go back a third time. If you're not getting anything on that third time, one, you might not be the right person to be there. So ask somebody else that you trust to go in and do it, do a walkthrough. Or two, maybe there's a little something that, check their medicine cabinet. I've done that.
Sure.
That's what I love cell phones for now, because I go check the medicine cabinet and I'm I'm reading, I'm looking up all the meds that are in there that I'm not familiar with, and
sure.
you have to watch it. I had a woman years and years and years ago that she claims that she was being beaten by and raped by an incubus, right? And I was still a little green under the ears when it came to this type of paranormal stuff. I mean, I'd done spirit rescue circles with the churches, but I'd never done anything like that. And bruised. I mean, one side of her body's bruised and her face has got bruises and stuff. And it's like, wow, what is this? So right away I was gullible. I jumped in on it. We set up we got permission to set up at the time, a VHS DVD. I mean, I was, that's how long ago it was. I think I still got it. I think I still got it someplace around here. But we just covered the dining room and the family room and the kitchen. That was it. Nothing else. We got permission to do it. Next day we went and we, went back and it was motion activated. So, I mean, it would go and, cover most of the night. Guess what? In the middle of the night, we see her running into the refrigerator, full blast. And I'm talking full blast. I had never looked behind the refrigerator. Why would I look behind the refrigerator? When I looked behind the refrigerator, when we came back in, you could see where the refrigerator had been hitting against the wall. And at that point, it's like, oh, okay. And I said to her, have you had other people come in here and investigate? Oh yeah, I've had several paranormal groups. I've had a priest, a couple ministers, and I always like this word, a gaggle of New Agers that came in and cleaned. And what we did was we actually made a copy. We got a hold of her daughter and we gave her the copy and said, listen, this is what we've got. She called us in. We got permission. I'm putting this in your hands. So you got to do whatever you got to do. And it wasn't, and I mean, she was claiming, and I don't know whether it was a medicine, or I don't know if it was like a sleepwalking thing. I don't know. I'm not qualified to judge that.
Sure. Yeah.
I can observe and I can go and be a witness to it, but I can't judge that. So what happened? At that point, when we turned that over, we walked away. But that's just something that you have to watch. You can't automatically, you can't assume. And there's so many people that paranormal investigators, they hear these outlandish tales, and they see, people that are bruised, and, right away they get suckered into it. I tell everybody that I have classes with, don't believe anything that the client tells you. Believe nothing. Research it and experience it, but believe nothing that comes out of their mouth. Use what they tell you just as your format of how you're going to approach the haunting or the investigation. And that's what you do. Yeah, perfect. It works perfectly like that. At least for me. Yeah. People at home are going, that bald guy, he ain't right. He ain't right. But it works. That's how I look at it. And really, it just makes so much sense to me to do that.
Yeah, you have to look at everything and format what your outcome's going to be.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, like that, I get possessed by a demon every night. I wake up and I'm all beat up. Well, do you remember the demon holding you down, or that, no, but yeah. I wake up every night and it's like this. But, but the thing is too, I mean, you could go as far as, is the demon possessing her, making her run around the house, but logically,
for me, I believe that most and most exorcists and most people that really, are in that. Now, I'm not a demonologist or anything like that.
Yeah.
But most people that are in that field, they'll come right out and tell you it's a very minuscule amount that is true. That is true. The rest of it could be a temporal possession, could be undue influence, could be parasitical, could be could be anything of those natures, any kind of an attachment like that. That can be all part of it. But is it always that? No. I mean, a lot of times it's mental health. And I feel that now we're in an age where there's not that huge stigma that is associated with people who have mental health disabilities or mental health problems. So I believe that now people can go and can talk to somebody and let a professional judge what's going on. And most professionals, you walk in there and go, listen, my therapist, I have bad anxiety. So I go to a therapist. My therapist, I said, okay, This is what I do. A, B, C, D. If you don't want to take me, I understand. She goes, oh no, that's pretty interesting. Okay, let's talk. And you know, that's just, you know, that's what, you know, you have to do. And most therapists will go and sit down and they'll be clinical and they'll be professional and they will take the time to understand and look. And most of them, if they can't figure out what's going on, they'll be honest with you. They'll refer you to somebody else, or, you know, they'll be honest with you. And that's what people need to do now. And I'm a firm believer in it. And I'll tell you what, anybody that does this work, you need to have someone in family counseling or addiction counseling in your back pocket. You need their card, or you need to put it. So I almost said, you know, they should be in your Rolodex. You know, I'm showing my age, but it should be in your, you know, you should have somebody in your cell phone that you can go and you can refer somebody to. And that's something that I feel is so important.
Yeah, definitely. Especially, you know, when people are being injured, right?
Yes.
Like, you know, one thing is like, I saw something in my bathroom, but, you know, when you're physically being harmed or harming yourself.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
And then, of course, I mean, you got the people want attention too.
Oh,
You know,
sure.
yeah.
I get every time. I can always tell, like when one of my encore episodes are on for one of the shows I've been on, because of the fact that all of a sudden they start getting like, see, I don't have my number out. I don't have my email out. They have to go to my website to contact me, and I start getting all these contact things. You know, all these messages go. You know, I can always tell. I'll get like 3 or 4 of them. You know, between Facebook, I get Facebook people trying to friend me, and then I get those messages. That's how I know that they're running a marathon some night.
Yeah, and you're wondering, okay, what show is that?
Yeah, what podcast is trying to get me on tonight?
Just like this.
Us.
Oh,
it's us.
Just like this. Then I hear, oh, wait a minute. 222. I know those guys. Yes, I will jump on there. I will make time.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Make time.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Just want to switch gears just for a second. Sure. I know, you know, in your bio you talk, or it's listed that you are a collector of unusual objects and haunted objects. I just want to talk a little bit about some of the unusual things that you have.
Well, to be honest with you, what's behind me is more haunted than my haunted objects.
Really?
This is all a collection of American Civil War and Grand Army of the Republic, which is the Union Veterans Organization that was formed after the American Civil War. And I mean, you really can't see over this side, you really can't see what I have, but there are a lot of photos and a lot of memorabilia up there, a lot of personal stuff that people had. And that to me, that has a lot of oomph to it. There's a lot of oomph to it. But like for all the crazy stuff, I've got like 80, I don't know, 84, 85, 86 Ouija boards. Five Below just had Ouija boards, $5. So yeah, they had smaller ones.
Summon the
Such
Z
a deal.
for...
Such a deal. Yeah. So I went. I got a funny story. So I go in there. So I did a seance. It was spoon bending, seance, Ouija board, and ghost hunt up at the Western Block for my friends in Lockport. And so instead of going and like, I've got 3 foot lockers full just of like orphan Ouija boards, you know, that people send me or they give them to me. But I didn't feel like, and I've got all sorts of stuff on top of it, all these displays and stuff. And I didn't feel like taking them apart. So I went out and I bought 7 Ouija boards. So I go to Five Below. It's a Wednesday morning. There's this really great guy there, you know, probably in his 30s. Come up and I got my handful of Ouija boards. He looks at me and goes, "Are you going to contact the dead?" And I looked at him. I said, "Well, I'm hoping to. I'm hoping to. Yeah." He goes to me, "I will check you out and I will say thank you now." And he checked me out, gave me my change. He walked away from me.
You should have looked at him and said, "Don't I know you?
You can see me?
Yeah, you can see me?
See me? Wait a minute." But yeah, I have, I have a bunch of Ouija boards. I have stuff from Odd Fellows halls. I have an original spirit trumpet, which is a tin trumpet. It looks like a tin funnel, long tin funnel, and it was an amplification device. Spiritualists use sometimes they would levitate, sometimes you'd hear stuff in them. I have one from the excuse me, I have one from the 1940s. I have a tambourine that was used in during seance by a seance medium. This is someone that just did seance, and when she passed away, I bought it from her estate. And the tambourine was, from what I understand, was brought back by one of her relatives from the Spanish-American War from Cuba. So, I mean, it's got a great history to it. I have a bunch of dolls people just freak out with. I have one of my favorite little dolls is her name is Sadie, and she comes from the Bergen, the haunted Bergen house in Bergen, New York. And I've done a lot of work up there. And the lady that lives there, she didn't even know where this thing came from, right? Just like one day appeared, and she had paranormal people coming in, so somebody might have brought it in.
Yeah.
And she said her grandson was like freaking with it. So I started talking to people about it, and they said that when they recorded, they did an EVP session with it. It said his name was Sadie, and it would F-bomb everybody, right?
Oh.
So she wanted to burn it, and my friend Dan said, "Oh, no, give it to Tim. Give it to Tim. He'll take it." You know? So we were up there filming. We were filming for one of the shows. I can't remember. One of those America's most, I don't know, some one of those.
Yeah.
And she gave it to me, right? So I put it. What I do is I put it right in the front seat, and I seatbelted in. So we're filming until about 2 a.m. And this is in the farm area. You know, this is all farm and swamp out there. So I'm driving, and there's a lone light, and I drive underneath it, and I look over, and the thing must have shifted, and it was kind of looking at me. I looked at it. I said, "If you move or make a sound, you're going out that damn window." But it's funny because she goes, you know, I always got a bad vibe. People have always said they got bad vibes off of it, and they got bad EVPs when they were working next to it. What do you get? I said, I love it. I said, it's probably gone more places than my wife has gone with me. You know, I'll take it. You know, if I have a collection, I'm going to talk about haunted object that comes with me. Here's another good story. I'm going in through Canada, right? I forget where the hell I was going. I cut through Canada. So I cut through Canada, you know, and the guy on the Canadian side, the border guard or the border guard. Oh my God, you can tell my age. The guy from the border agency goes, you know, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm cutting through. I'm going to wherever. And he goes, what are you going to do there? I said, well, I'm speaking at a paranormal conference on haunted objects. He looks at me. He goes, haunted objects? I said, yeah, you know. He goes, do you have any haunted objects? I said, see that foot locker behind me? It's all full of it. He looks at me. Then he looks down, and I have my backpack seat belted in the front seat with me because I always have, you know, snacks and stuff with me. And I got Sadie sitting out of the peeking out of the backpack like that. And he goes, is that? I said, yeah, that's Sadie. He goes, have a nice day.
I remember that story.
You want anything to do with it?
The other one was I'm coming back, right? So another time I'm coming back through Canada, you know, because you cut across. I cut across, you know, from Michigan. And so I'm coming back, and I'm on the Peace Bridge, you know, and oh no, I take that back. I was at the Voodoo Witchcraft and Voodoo Festival up at spoke up there at in St. Catharines, Ontario. So I'm coming back, and they gave me a 4-foot high Santa Muerte effigy. Santa Muerte is like the patron saint of like cartels, you know, and they call her the Bone Goddess because she looks like the Grim Reaper, and she's got a sickle, but she has a wedding dress on, and depending on the color of the wedding dress is the purpose of, you know, what the effigy is for. But they know what the crossings, they know what these things are. They're not, you know.
Yeah.
So
see everything.
I take this 4-foot This is Santa Muerte effigy seatbelter in my back seat. Now I'm sitting there in my car and I'm waiting to get, to the inspection area, and I go, oh no. Look up in my rearview mirror and I see the skull like this, looking at me, and I'm going, oh no. Now I know if I get out and put it like in my trunk,
Mhm.
I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
red
flagged.
flag.
Yep.
I said, well, you know what? I'm going to let the chips fall right where they may. I'm going to see what happens. I cruise in. I got my ID in my hand. I see him, citizenship, blah, blah, blah. And he looks at me and he looks right over my shoulder and he sees the Santa Muerte effigy. And I can kind of read him, I kind of can see, by his facial expression, he knows what the hell that is. And he says, what were you doing? I said, well, I spoke up at the Witchcraft and Voodoo Festival, St. Catherine's, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, do you have anything to declare? I said, yeah, I got the door prize. Have a nice day. Never took my license. I know he probably ran the license plate, but never grabbed my license, nothing. Have a nice day. I think that was just a little bit too much even for him. He's just like, I'm done. I'm sure he, at the end of his shift, he went back and goes, man, I had a winner that came through today.
Not gonna be what happened today, honey.
Yeah.
Can
I love that.
objects be
but
dangerous?
I mean, my favorite objects, and I'll tell you that, and I have a talk that I do on them. I have Victorian morning ritual stuff.
Okay.
I have hair jewelry, beautiful. I don't collect post-mortem photos. I collect like the coffin photos or the floral photos. I collect women wearing different phases of mourning dress, hearses, and some of the most beautiful pieces I have, and I think they're beautiful. I mean, is hair. And I have a lot of like hair, where they've made them into wreaths. They've made them into little displays. I have a display where if you look at it, you'll see little bits of paper. And on each little piece of paper is somebody's name. So that's the hair from that person. I have just ambrotypes, which are glass images. I have this beautiful one where I got it from an auction, and I did, it just looked like it was empty, and it looked like it had some hair, and it looked, and I said, well, I'm just gonna bid $18 on it or something. So, and it's real tiny. It's what they call 1/8 ambrotype, and it's in a little leather case. And I opened up the case, and I looked in there, and you can see the faded image of a woman.
Okay.
This beautiful little faded image of this beautiful woman, and there's hair. Like there's two pieces of hair there, and there's a piece of paper in there, and it said "mother," which means must have been the woman in the photograph. Father's locks. So it was and that is so beautiful. I think that's one of the most beautiful things I have. And a lot of people are, it's so funny. I love when people come down here. Before I have anybody come down in my basement, which I am right now, to do any work, if they've ever been down here, I have to go, okay, now let me explain something to you. And I always tell them it's like
caveat, right?
Yeah, you have to have a caveat. I collect horror. I always say I always collect horror stuff. But I mean, a lot of people are like, they come down here and they get like overwhelmed, and it's like my wife and I come down here, I don't get anything, but the perception is what plays a huge part. With me, everything I have is usually left outside for about 3 days. 3 days, put it out in the sun. Johnny Zaffis taught me that. Put it out, outside, let the sun hit it. It pretty much purifies it. I got selenite in these cases, for some of the, rather interest. I'll just say some of the interest. I have like dirt from Ed Gein's house, I mean, stuff like that.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, so I have selenite, in some of the cases to kind of calm that stuff down. But I have yet to ever have anything really happen or shock me down here. It's funny because like a lot of people will go, when you're doing your show, all of a sudden I see you kind of look up and then you giggle, and then you kind of go back to the show, right? And
Mhm.
it goes, why? They always ask me why. Well, I do have a shadow person down here. That's like a
Oh.
head and
Okay.
shoulders, and like the way my basement is cut up is like it's like a long it's got like a long room here, and then my office where I am now is here, and then I got work rooms.
Okay.
And I'll see this. It's like, what are you doing? Shop?
Yeah.
What are you? And I'll see that every so often. I've seen, I saw a woman in our sunroom, sitting there staring into our kitchen window, things like that. But I mean, nothing. There's, and I think the reason is the fact that I love and respect everything. I have that whole mentality of everything is alive,
Mhm.
and I really feel that my attitude towards it keeps everything on the straight and narrow. Where somebody that comes down here that is expecting to be scared or expect that overwhelming feeling, they're going to get it. And, I mean, just because I walk down here, I'm immune to it. Somebody else may be of that nature and be able to pick that stuff up. But for the most part, I've had reporters down here. I've had all sorts. I've had friends, and everybody keeps saying that they're going to go and charge $5 at the door for them to come down here.
Why not?
But I've had other people down here that they're just fascinated because it's stuff out of the ordinary. I mean, I just got a little piece of the Amityville house, little tiny piece of one of the windows. I got, I've got stuff from the Hotel Cecil in Skid Row.
Okay.
I mean, I've got different relics of locations, things of that nature, that were part of historic hauntings, antique tarot decks, antique fortune. I collect everything,
Mhm.
And no, I don't get anything. Only once. I'll tell you what. Once I got something, and it was my own fault.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because I went down there. I did a gig with the Kling brothers, and we're down in New Orleans. It was cheaper for them to fly me home on Monday than it was on Sunday. So they said, "Do you want to stay?" I said, "Yeah, I'll stay." I just roof in, I went there, and before they were even out of the parking lot, I had already had an Uber coming to pick me up to take me back to Bourbon Street, right? So I go and I'm hanging out, and I got a ride to I got a ride to cemetery number 2. That's what it was. I got a ride to cemetery number 2, and they have debitage piles, which are just like gravel and the mortar that comes out of the uprights. The upright. I call them ovens, but that's basically what they are. But the upright,
they are. Yeah.
the graves. And I got this little tiny piece of mortar, and I'm going, "Oh, this is so cool!" right into the pocket.
It just fell into the pocket.
Fell into my body.
Right. I had so much trouble getting home. My gate was changed. I mean, it was like unbelievable. Every like 20 minutes, my gate was being changed. I was supposed to be home by 7. I didn't get home till like 2:00 in the morning. We got flown instead of Chicago. We got flown into Dulles for some reason, and then we were lucky because we had one more passenger on our flight than another flight had. So the pilot actually, the crew actually came on our flight, got home, and this is the old house, and we had like a lot of stuff going on. It's like all this crazy stuff kind of going on. I tapped my desk with my toe, the second toe in, and broke it. The week before I was going up to one of the Michigan Paracons. Half my foot was purple, right? With a sneaker on. I broke it. When I was gone, my wife, whose office was below mine, it was a little, small little house, with, upstairs. She said when she was working, she could hear my computer chair rolling around. Like somebody was rolling.
Yeah.
She could hear stuff. And I said, "Oh, and I had it in this really nice little Rikers case, and it had a little, had a picture of the uprights, and said, "Oh, it's so cool looking." So I said, "You know what? I'll bet you there's, I tried to clear it, and it kind of calmed down, but still." So my friend had a store. I gave it to him for his display. 4 days later, he texted me, "Can you take this out of my store?"
Yeah.
Paranormal store. the big thing that I felt was it had a lot of feminine energy to it. I always felt that. For whatever reason, I always felt that.
Mhm.
So I call my friend up who has got a metaphysical shop, and she is Strega, which is a Sicilian witch. She follows that tradition. And their Sicilian witches are great because there's no gray area. You know, it's like,
okay.
man, I love that. And so she took it, and she didn't have a problem with it. So I feel that there was a lot of, first of all, that was one of those pieces that you shouldn't take.
Yeah.
You know, I should have been a little bit smarter about that. But I still respected it. But it wanted to go to some place that had more feminine energy to it, probably something that was more like, more like whatever, this whatever this energy is, whatever was in this life or whatever. So she has it now, and it sits in her window. The sun beats down on it every day, and it's all apparently it's happy. So.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the only. I'll tell you the truth. That's the only piece I ever got rid of. That's the only piece.
Oh, okay.
I probably would have kept it if I didn't break my toe and then like get superstitious about it.
Damn toe.
Yeah.
Oh man, all you, Tim. It's so interesting though. Like
But yeah, it's all fun.
all I have in my house is a piece of the Berlin Wall.
Nice.
Like,
I want a piece
right
of the Berlin Wall.
I
do want that.
I'll give you a piece. I have 3 pieces and
Oh,
some
nice.
dinosaur poop.
Poop.
Oh yeah, corporalite.
Purplelite.
Oh, is that
Corporalites. See, I know some stuff.
He knows a couple things.
I picked up one of my I have 2 prized possessions. 2 prized possessions in the whole collection. When they were raising money to go back to the Titanic, after first salvage, they salvaged stuff, and then they were raising money. They were selling small pieces of coal. Now you can buy them anywhere. I guess now they're all for sale. But I got a very small piece of coal from the Titanic.
Wow.
But the piece that I love the most is from Bolston House in Loch Ness, Scotland. And this house was where the Black magician Aleister Crowley did a lot of work.
Oh.
And later on, it was bought, and Jimmy Page lived there because he was a follower of Crowley. He bought his diaries and stuff, but it caught fire, and they were raising money to rebuild it, which they've done a beautiful job of it so far. But I've got like 3 or 4 pieces of the roofing tile that $40 or something to get, and I have that is like metaphysical history right there. That's magician.
Yeah, exactly.
I need that. That's coming to my house.
Definitely.
But that's the fun stuff, I mean.
Oh, I think I have a Civil War bullet I got in Gettysburg. Forgot about that.
Well, I got the gun right over here that probably will go with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the costume.
Which one? Which side?
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
Which side?
I mean, how is it for somebody, in your position to go into a Gettysburg, and not just have your head explode? I mean,
my great-great-grandfather,
but I mean,
my great-great-grandfather fought there. His brother died in the wheat field, was killed in the wheat field. And as of last year, I got a chance to get in the last into the 1862 battles. And he enlisted in 1862 and went right through the war. He was wounded in the wilderness, went in as a private, left as a 2nd lieutenant. And his regiment was pretty decimated. And I actually got a chance. I can say right now that I've walked on every single battlefield that he fought on.
Okay.
I have walked on every single one. And as a reenactor back for the 130th, because I think it's like the 160th anniversary, that's going back 30 years.
Yeah.
I went and in full uniform, carrying gear, was part of a march, a 25-mile march from Frederick, Maryland to Gettysburg, 2 days. And it was in the end of June, hot.
Oh, man.
It was brutal. It was 88 degrees on the first day in the rain, and then it was 101 degrees at 10 o'clock in the morning when we crossed into Pennsylvania. And I can honestly say that when you do something as intensive as that, when you go on the battlefields, I'm sort of insulated, but yet I can feel it. You know, I don't know how to describe it. I'm insulated where it's like, I know I'm not going to take anything with me. Antietam, which he was never at, in Sharpsburg, Maryland, I've had experiences there. But on the battlefields that where he has been, never had an experience yet. Except, well, I did a talk down in Gettysburg a couple of years ago, and they put me up at the Tilly Pierce house. And Tilly Pierce was a 14-year-old girl that was evacuated out of Gettysburg when the battle hit, and then when she came back, you know, she talks about what she experienced, and she talks about what it was like, you know, coming back to the house, and you know how the disarray and the blood stains and everything. And I was staying there, and because I stay in hotels reasonable amount of time, I'm very phobic about making sure that my doors are shut and locked. Very phobic. I'm one of those people that will go up there, and even in a modern hotel, I'll shake the door just to make sure that it's, you know, that it's, you know, that it's locked. So I'm there, you know, and the bed is here, and the door is like maybe 1.5 feet away from my headboard. And I did that. And being OCD, I probably did it 2 or 3 times. Woke up about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Something woke me up. I don't know what it was. It was just like, I don't know if it was a shutter or whatever it was. And I woke up, door's wide open. So it's wide open. I just laugh. You know, when that stuff happens, you laugh. And you go, guys, give me a break. Close the door, lock it, go back to bed. You know, and it's so funny because, you know, when you don't realize that, you know, like in my head, it's a natural thing. Other people are freaking out about it, but in this coconut here, it's just what it is. It's just what it is, and it doesn't bother me. I was at Hinsdale House. I love Hinsdale House. Been going there since 2011. My buddy Dan Kless owns it now, and they had an event there. So a woman, you know, we're staying overnight. A woman didn't turn off a REM pod, and I was sleeping in the living room, and I was like, you know, the REM pod was actually close to my head, you know, or on a nightstand or a table or something by my head. And 5 o'clock, I think I fell asleep about 2 o'clock in the morning. 5 o'clock in the morning, that thing started to scream like somebody grabbed that aerial. I mean, it was screaming. I jump, I get up, I said, SUB, can't you let me go and sleep till like at least 7? Do you know what? The thing stopped, right? Quarter after 7, it went off again. I said, oh, thank you.
It's like,
you know, I gotta say thank you, you know. But those are
wake up and pay attention to me.
Yeah, that's the fun stuff. You know, that's but I mean, that's, you know, I think because of my training early on, because we had children's seances and we had stuff like that. And that was to train us not to be freaked out over physical phenomena like you know, now you know, you leave a flashlight on a table and it flies off, people freak.
Yeah.
Me, it's like, oh, that's cool. I pick it up, put it back on the table. I don't even think and I don't think anything of it. You know, I just don't, because again, it's expected. It's expected. And for me, it's just, you know, and I don't know how many times people have been like, dude, I don't know if I want to go hang with you anymore. I don't know if I want to go to. And then I got other people going, hey, want to do table tipping tonight?
Right?
Can we do like that weird like seance vigil or something? And I said, we can do something.
Can you bring your 95 Ouija boards over and we'll make a big,
put the Ouija boards in a big circle and
do roller skating on it or something.
the best one is we're in the Grand Midway Hotel in Windber, Pennsylvania. It's great. This place is great. I absolutely love this place. It's got a Ouija board painted on the roof, you know. So you know it's my type of place. Yeah. So we're doing a seance. And we're working using a Ouija board. And of course the name Zozo comes through. Right? And me, I'm like, yeah, bullshit. You know, it's like, yeah, Zozo, don't give me this. You know, do something. Push me, scratch me, do whatever, you know. You know. you know, I know how you parasiticals work. You're trying to freak people out. You ain't freaking me out, right? My one friend who loves the paranormal, but he hasn't been in it that long. All I hear is, who's Zozo? Who's Zozo? What's Zozo? Who's Zozo? I said, oh, don't worry about it. It's just a Sumerian, like a Sumerian demon or whatever. What? You know? But you know, I mean, that's just, I mean, again, that's just the way it is, because you get so used to using it, and it's like,
Exactly.
it just becomes second nature. It becomes second nature, and to me, I love the experience of it. I love getting that, and it's always good to have
It's a rush, right?
Yeah, you should, and you laugh about it. I love laughing about it, you know, and I think that's why I don't have that big of a problem, because I laugh, and I think a lot of things are funny, and I think, you know, things are just, you know, they're there, and you take them, and it's like, this is great evidence, or this is, you know, or you get an EVP where it F bombs you. Hey, thank you. You know?
Yeah, because you know that
language,
but you also know that that's not the radio talking. You know,
exactly.
You can't say that on the radio.
You know, well, you can, but you can, you know, get that. That's a $500 FCC fine there. Or 5,000. That's a 5,000.
You say any word you want on our podcast.
Even booger.
Booger. I've been holding back, kids. You know,
he's ready for the turkey drop. Oh,
yeah,
that's it. But yeah, I mean, these are things. It's just fun.
So
People need to understand that, and the one thing I've learned is that when you have fun, everything kind of falls into place. And we learned that early on with seance. We always try to make them fun. You know, I'm not one of these people, you know, with duct tape on my butt, where when I do gallery, I try to make it as fun. I throw candy, I throw Mardi Gras beads, I make people sing. You know, you do that in order to raise vibrations. Same thing with the paranormal. If you think it's fun, if you make it fun, or you have a specific experiment you're doing, that vibe is out there. That frequency is out there. So now it's going to go and attract. This is what you want, because one of the first things that you learn in spiritualism 101 is the natural laws. One of the natural laws is like attracts like. And when you think of it in that manner, all of a sudden now this comes to you. And that has been a truism for me. I don't consider this a career. People consider this a career. For me, it's just sort of like, you know, it's just daily life for me. And, you know, I've believed that my whole life, and it just works. It just works. It's like manifesting and stuff like that. It just works. But you have to, you know, you just put it out there.
That's right.
I went like this. Jen and Joe, you want me on your podcast?
That's right.
Absolutely.
And then I messaged you.
I knew it. And then all of a sudden, Joe writes me. I said, see, that's the way it works.
Tim Shaw is coming into my life, chocolate donuts, and the winning lottery ticket.
I'm still looking for. It's not working.
No, but we really, really, really appreciate you coming on with us today. It's always so much fun to talk to you. You're so interesting and so knowledgeable, and our listeners just love these shows.
You know what? It's
so cool.
Listen, it's an honor. It's an honor to be on your show. You guys have got an amazing track record. You guys do such a wonderful job. And I mean, I'll be honest with you. I do listen to a lot of podcasts, and I mean, some of my friends, and I listen to most of them as before I go to sleep. I try to go and listen to 2 podcasts a night, whether it's paranormal or Victorian or whatever. Yeah. And you guys do such a great job.
Thank you.
You guys are natural. Really, and that's what's so cool about it, because a lot of people aren't natural. A lot of people it's forced. And with you guys, it's not forced. It's never been forced. You can tell it's fun. When I see you guys at all the conferences and stuff, I envy your setup, man. I remember my setup when I was there. I envy your setup. Your setups are so cool. But you know what? You're never, when somebody comes on your podcast, they never have to worry about being ambushed.
No,
Because there's such a high level of respect that you guys have, and we have fun. But
exactly.
people don't get that. There's people either have that or they don't have it, and it's such a high level of respect. And it's a genuine thirst for the knowledge and for information, and that's you guys have always had that from the very first time I met you. And it's always an honor when I get a chance to hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
Same here. Same with you.
Definitely.
You know,
Well, thank
and you
very
guys
much.
you guys can give me
Means a lot to
$1
us.
when you see me next time.
That's
I'm
right.
going to give you a piece of the Berlin Wall.
The
That's
cheese
what I'm going
tax.
to give you. The cheese
That.
tax.
You know what?
For
We'll
sure.
be in touch. We'll see where we're going to be next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. for sure.
I have a piece of a haunted location. I can't say what it is on the air,
Mhm.
but it's an interesting piece, and we'll trade. How's that?
Sounds
There
good.
you go.
I love it.
Okay,
Amazing.
we'll do that. We'll do that again. I can't say what it is, but
That's
you'll
okay.
like it. I know
All
for a
right.
fact you'll like it. You'll like it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you so
Yes,
much.
We appreciate you.
We're so honored. And listener, thank you for joining us also tonight. Please get up on our website, check out everything we do. I did update the website, so our new stuff's up there. Look in the show notes. You'll see everything to do with Tim in the show notes. Any links that he wants us to put out, or any that I
Check
may
out his
slip in there.
Patreon as well.
Yes, his Patreon's coming up.
Yep.
It's going to be great because, like you said, not everybody gets that chance.
Right.
And
Exactly.
check out Jen's Poshmark page. That link is in the show notes. Also, you want to save a lot of money on clothing. Look up Jen's Poshmark page, and we will talk to you next week. Thank you so much.
Everybody have a great week. Tim Shaw, we love you. Thank you so much. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Hang on.